Okay, today we're talking about solving for a specific variable. So we'll solve an equation for a given variable. Oftentimes we can use this in physics and actually a lot of different areas. If we're doing the interest formula that we used last year, quite a few different areas come into play here. So looking at this first example, they're telling us to solve for y. So in this case, I'm trying to get all the y's to one side of the equation. We can think of this as a river problem, so whatever I do to the left side of the equation, I need to do to the right side. In this case, we're going to add 4y to both sides, and that leaves us with 3x equals 5y. At that point, if I divide by 5, that gives us y on its own, so we can solve at that point for it, and y is 3x equals 5. Our final answer would be there. And again, in this case, we're not getting a specific number, but we do have an answer that is acceptable for y. So in this one, they're asking us to solve for k. That's in the top term here, so I want to go ahead and get rid of our fraction. Again, if I multiply by the reciprocal, I'm multiplying by 5. Guess I should say we're multiplying by the denominator. So that would give us 1. So that leaves us k minus 2 on one side of the equation. The other side, we can go ahead and multiply 5 times 11j, giving us 55j. Again, looking to isolate k on one side of the equation, we can add 2. So k equals 55j plus 2. I can't combine the j's with 2. I guess going back to last year's example, that would be Chuck Norrie and plums. So we're just left with k equals 55, j plus 2. Okay, go ahead and work this one through on your own. Hit pause, see how it goes. You can check your answers at the end. Okay, so I'm trying to isolate the n on one side. So I can go ahead and subtract 6p. There aren't like terms, so it's just 15 minus 6p equals 3n. I'm going to go ahead and divide by 3. I'm going to divide this by 3. Just want to talk a moment about the 15 minus 6p. That's the same as 5 over 3. So I'm just working this over. I can think of the one term as 15 divided by 3 minus 6p divided by 3. This would become 5. 6 divided by 3 is 2p. So again, that's just showing an explanation of what I'm doing here and how we can go ahead and call that 5 minus 2p equals n. And that would be our final answer. Okay, looking at this one, we need to try and get all of the m's on one side of the equation. Once we do that, we're going to see that the s times m and the 2 times m presents a little bit of a challenge, and I need to reverse the distributive property to factor out the m's. So first I just want to get everything onto one side. I'll go ahead and subtract sm from both sides. When I do that, I go ahead and get 2m minus sm minus t equals 5. Then we can go ahead and add t, and we can get 2m minus sm equals 5 plus t. Some people might get to this step all in one step. We went ahead and took 2 steps to get there, and that's okay. Now, I might notice that I have 2 terms here with m's in them. If I pull the m out and factor the common factor, I can go ahead and go 2 minus s times m equals 5 plus t. And that right there is a newer step. We can go ahead and now divide by the 2 minus s, divide by 2 minus s, and on this side that becomes 1, and it leaves us with m. On the right side of the equation we have 5 plus t over 2 minus s. And that would be our final answer. So this is a similar problem. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Hit pause, see how it goes for you, and you can check your answers at the end. Working with quite a few S's here, it might be something that if your handwriting isn't neat, an S and a 5 can become confused, so you want to be careful there. So we have 6Q minus QR. We can go ahead and factor out a Q. That leaves us 6 minus R equals 7 plus 18, or S plus 18. Now I can divide by the quantity of 6 minus R, divide by 6 minus R, and we're left with Q equals S plus 18 over the quantity of 6 minus R. And that would be our final answer. So that's our lesson for tonight. Hopefully it makes sense. If not, please come to class tomorrow with the questions that you may have, and we can work through those.